Good evening, welcome back to the Glazov Gang. This is the second segment of the episode, and very special episode, How Islam Ruined My Life. Our three modern-day freedom fighters who are here to tell their powerful stories, their suffering and escape from Sharia, and also the redemption that they found afterwards. Our three guests this evening, Amani Mustafa. She's the host of the Muslim Woman Show on Al Hayat channel on satellite TV. Nonie Darwish, who's the author of the new book, The Devil We Don't Know. Or, I'm sorry, I said The Devil...
The Devil We Don't Know.
We Don't Know. I thought for a minute you don't know. I apologize. And Anni, Cyrus, a producer and actress. Ladies, welcome back to the program.
My pleasure.
I think that in this particular segment on escape, I think it would be very good to start with, Manny, something you were saying during the break, because in general, all three women, three females, definitely the theme of the misogyny in Islam, the cage that women must live in. And Annie was saying, all three of you were saying how, you know, the honor of the family is imposed on you, and how you have to get married very early. All three of you obviously escaped this kind of imprisonment and persecution. Amani, let's begin with you on your escape, but first tell us the analysis you gave of why there's this cage in Islam for women.
Well, if you want to understand Islam, you go to the teaching of Muhammad directly, and what Annie was saying about the marrying the daughter young is because Muhammad says 9/10 of a woman is private parts. So, and only the husband covers that 9/10, and the one left is covered by the grave. So a woman has to be hidden, covered, given to someone else to worry about her trouble, because a woman is a source of sin, a source of trouble for the man. So a woman struggles in Islam all of her life to cover herself with the hijab, to not put perfume, to not walk, or to not wear high heels, or or
even laughing,
or to not speak.
Yeah, even laughing. A woman's laughter is demonized. Yeah. But also the word fitna, it's social disorder, but at the same time it's also a woman or woman's beauty or freedom.
Right.
Social chaos is interlinked with a female and her beauty.
Well, I think that's
how they see it.
Well, it could be a woman could cause that, but also you have to understand the play and the Arabic words and the meanings is kind of deeper. So.
Right.
But the whole idea is a woman is a source of sin, so we need to be married off. So in all of our cultures, that's very common. In my culture, it was older age a little bit because of the status and the standard of people that we live with. But still, we strive to find husbands and to be married early.
So, Amani, briefly please, how did you escape Sharia?
Oh, well, I couldn't escape it in my country, in Egypt. So I had to marry a Muslim man, and then I ended up having 2 children. And when I had my second child, it was a daughter. And as soon as I had the daughter, my husband started to enforce the Islamic rules on myself and the children, because now he has a daughter, he has to worry about it. And also because now he knows that I have no right to the children and he can control my life with it. Eventually, with miracles over miracles, and many years, after 10 years of really abuse and torture, I escaped from Egypt and I came to America.
Our hearts are with you, but thank God that there was a good ending to that story, Amani. And Nonie, you also escaped quite a horrific scenario.
Yeah, I fell in love with an Egyptian Christian, and it was against the law to get married. He proposed to me and we couldn't get married. So I was, the social pressure on us and the shaming was so harsh, humiliation.
It's against the social laws, not
social and religious also. You cannot get married legally if you...
Oh, you're a Muslim, that's true.
Yeah, I'm a Muslim, he was a Christian. So we're brought up in the Muslim world with this shaming and humiliation. That you're really it overtakes your whole, try to avoid it by any means, living to please others. And then finally, he had a brother here in America, and I was lucky, we were lucky that we came and joined him here, and that was my great escape after years and years of struggle and humiliation, and you know, I was beaten, you know, because when I was a child, when I was 7 years old, I was beaten because I was dancing. Can you believe it? A cousin of mine, an older cousin, saw me dancing and said, only, sorry for the word, whores dance. And he beat me. And until now, I remember that. So I landed in America, and my life just changed instantly. Thank God I went to the American University in Cairo. So I dealt with a lot of Americans from my university. So I spoke the language. So I just adapted so quickly. I adapted so quickly, and I saw that big difference, because we come here with baggage. It took me a long time to get used to the freedom. You know, when you're given freedom, you don't practice it right away. It takes a long time for the freedom to sink in. It took me a long time, but I'm glad, and I'm very grateful for America. Without America, none of us would be sitting here speaking with freedom.
Thank you very much, Nonie. And Annie, you left off with your narrative of a certain shaming of you, a certain disownment in your family. Now, to bring us up to speed, what happened? How did you get out of that scenario instead of ending up in a forced marriage or whatever happened?
Actually, I did ended up in a forced marriage.
Okay.
And that was when I decided.
How old were you?
13.
Okay.
I was 13. However, it obviously I wasn't one of those kids who just put up with it. So when that happened, my husband was very
How old was he, if you don't mind me
He was
asking?
36.
He was 36, and your family completely accepted this. This is normal in Islam,
Yes.
right? And you weren't even asked anything?
No. I mean, obviously having a kid like me, as everybody knows with our culture, it's not good.
Yeah. And was it miserable? It must have been horrible.
It was. I was locked in a basement. I was married for 7 months before I escaped. Entire time I was locked. I could only see my grandma. He would drop me off. He would pick me up. He forced me to wear hijab, like complete hijab. And I had to do the prayer even though I didn't want to. So yes, it was horrible, and that is what actually made me want to go.
How did you get out?
I was smuggled out of country to Turkey. I spent 4 years in Turkey until I got my refugee status, and I moved to the United States.
But in other words, there were some good people that somehow were able to have access to you.
Yeah, it was my grandma. All of it was my grandmother, because she was the only one who was allowed to see me. So the last time I went there, she saw the bruises on my face and all that.
Yeah.
She was like, "That's it. You have to make a decision."
And what happened to your husband?
I have no idea. I know he tried to sue my family, and I know he did one thing, which was to get my stoning documentation ready. So if they ever find me, or if I ever go back, I will be stoned to death, just because I left my husband. But that was all I knew. I didn't even want to hear about him. I didn't want to know what he's doing. I didn't care.
Really heartbreaking stories, frightening stories, but just a relief and a celebration that the three of you are safe and sound here. But just the thought of all the girls and the women that are left behind under that horrible system. And I want to end this segment with this theme before we get on to the theme of redemption. Where are the feminists? The left is supposed to be humanitarian. Annie, you, Amani, Nonie, Annie, these horrible stories, they represent millions of women suffering under Israeli gender apartheid. The left in the West in general, has abandoned these women. Why? What are your thoughts on this?
Well, a lot of it is ignorance, and some ignorance and some selfishness. And we live in a society that thinks that this is not going to reach them, that this is not going to happen in America or in the West. But unfortunately, I was talking to Nonie right before the taping, and I was just telling her a story just like Annie's story, and it happened here in America. And for the last 10 years of my life, I've been speaking to the church, and I've been speaking to our communities and telling them that we have women in America, young girls, married at 11, 12, 13, living in their families' homes in America, having children, and it's right under our noses. We have, circumcision cases in America, and it's happening under our noses. We just need to open our eyes.
Yeah, but what's very difficult is to those for us whose eyes are open and want to do something about us, all three of you and myself and the leaders on the front line, David Horowitz, Pamela Geller, Robert Spencer, we are called names. We're called Islamophobes and racists because the multiculturalists and the left, they refuse and do not allow honesty being said about this religion and what it's being done to people. Nonie?
Because it's not their agenda. If the story doesn't fit their agenda, if the story of Muslim women, or at least a good number of Muslim women are suffering, if this is not going to help their agenda, they abandon us. Unfortunately, liberals in America have narrowed down their what they fight for only to things that fit their agenda, and this is really a shame.
Yeah, my experience with the left in academia is they pretend they're for women's rights because they use it as a weapon to destroy this society.
Yeah.
But if I bring up the 3 cases we've heard here today, they would completely ignore it because it doesn't fit their agenda. So they don't care about women. They want to destroy capitalism and democracy.
Absolutely.
Any final words of wisdom from you?
I would say I think the only reason they're not doing anything about it is that they're too scared. To me, is that they're scared. Like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, we had this huge killing back in my country. Young people my age, they were dying there. And the only thing I remember hearing was when they asked President Obama about the video of Neda being killed, and he just said, it's really heartbreaking.
Yeah.
That's all he had to come up with.
Yeah, they don't say, and it's incredible the double standards. Just the other day, even there's this leftist fellow at my gym, and very out loud, he said, all Christians are fanatics, and he said it very loud, and I was wondering, what if he replaced the word Christians with Muslims, but he would never say it, because he knows what would happen to them, because they're scared. So what they do is they devote all their criticism to a religion that they know won't harm them.
Yeah.
That's called political correctness.
There you go. Many sad themes, heartbreaking themes, but in our 3rd segment, a little bit of an uplifting segment, I hope we will discuss the theme of redemption. Join us then.